Now to a dire warning about climate change.
Hello, my name is Alex Apodaca, and this is my thesis titled Fragmented Landscapes in a Future Dystopia. So with climate change accelerating in real time, it is predicted that large swaths of ecosystems will falter in waves, creating sudden die-offs that will be catastrophic for wildlife and humanity. Imagine a world where there are no birds chirping outside your window, no weather to change the seasons from spring to summer, or no way of knowing the difference between a flower or a tree because they've all disappeared from everyday life. This project takes place in a future dystopian world where the unfortunate has happened. There is no accessible nature. My thesis proposes that we come together to reimagine what we once had through a series of experiences where time, space, and memories are collapsed, distorted, and preserved into 3 capsules, which focus on our senses, lost seasons, and different scaled landscapes. These capsules will all stem from past information gathered from a case study that was done in the Catskills of New York. The Catskills, once upon a time, was filled with rugged mountain peaks, remote lakes and ponds, and unfragmented forests. This site catered to past generations in many ways, from the painters to hikers exploring its vast landscape. No matter the activity, it was a space to occupy when wanting to experience multiple facets of what nature had to offer. So these first 3 drawings are roadmaps to what these 3 capsules could possibly be, and inspired me to question what it means to rediscover something that is lost. Given the past information on the Catskills, I combined painting, digital and mapping elements, and used a series of moves to envision a newly crafted space. The left drawing focuses on how we can visually create a space that captures the senses of a place. I relied heavily on the atmospheric qualities that come from the paintings of the natural landscape, and through rotation and layering of the image, I was able to transform how we see nature that once was. The result is an illuminated landscape which asks the question, which senses from nature are important to preserve and how? The second drawing focuses on the way we saw and recorded nature. Through my research, I discovered a tool that was heavily used to document the landscape of the Catskills. This was known as the reconnaissance transit. This is a historical tool which was used in the 19th century to survey and map the land. It measures both horizontally and vertical angles, allowing the user to get accurate elevation readings. It led me to wonder what environment could be created based off the moves of this tool. The transit is able to rotate, balance, and measure all at once. Could a reinvented landscape be able to do multiple actions at once as well? Lastly, I once again used paintings for the inspiration of this drawing. The colors of the landscapes to us create a sense of time of year and time of day. Through stacking these drawings, I created a space that visualizes the seasons and how different elements could be used in the capsule to promote the feeling of changing between spring, summer, fall, and winter. After doing the initial drawings, I was not only met with the challenge of creating spaces where people do not have any experience on what nature was, but also how to build these capsules without copying and pasting past landscapes. I settled on making a set of immersive spaces that transform elements of the past and breathe new life into this dystopia. So the first capsule is called Sensations. Within Sensations, you'll be able to walk through time and explore a series of stacked spaces that rely on our senses to create the experience. Humans possess powerful sensory capacities that allow us to sense the kaleidoscope of sights, sounds, smells. Our eyes detect light, energy, our ears pick up sound waves, and our noses detect scents in the air. In this future space, the outside world is no longer warm and inviting for the senses, but instead a lackluster wasteland for our eyes, a hollowscape devoid of sounds and unpleasant smells of lifeless ground. This will provide a change of scenery for this world and introduce its inhabitants to sensations they have never had. First sight, the idea is to build a landscape that highlights specific experiential views for the user through the use of digital technology. The ground within this capsule will be changing over time to highlight specific moments that draw our eyes to the zone. For hearing, we have gathered the soothing sounds of past landscapes in the Catskills and modified them to propel sound waves around the space. Some sounds that will be featured here are those of water rushing down a river, crickets' chirps echoing in the night, and birds' melodious calls resonating throughout the capsule. For the sense of smell, we will use science to take stored DNA of past natural things found in the Catskills and recreate the scents that used to be enjoyed. Some smells that will be given a new life are those of the sweet flowers found throughout the forest, the fresh scent of a summer rainfall, and the sharp smell of pine. These three senses will collapse over each other and create a stimulating environment filled with sensations that have never been felt before. This one. The second capsule is called Scales. Within the Scales capsule, you'll be engulfed in a multi-scalar experience. The Catskills provides us with a never-ending catalog of animal species, land formations, and plant inhabitants. All of these things come in various scales and sizes. The overall Catskills area studied was a vast 287,000 acres. Within these acres, there are miles of individual geographic segments that piece together to form the park. In these segments, there were lakes, valleys, mountains, and forests at various smaller scales. Within those environments, there were smaller ecosystems made up of plants and animals. This ecosystem has a hierarchy. We are able to know that a snail would be small when compared to a black bear, that flower's height was lesser than that of a mature tree. There were a set of known scales and measurements that define the natural spaces we once inhabited. In this dystopia, people have never experienced a space that allows them to view an environment incorporating all of these scales. Within the capsule, I'm proposing a space that takes the catalogs of things we knew, and renders them scaleless in order to create new landscapes and experiences. What would a landscape be where the leaf is scaled up 100 times to become a type of climbable structure? How can these scaled up items from the past inform each other and transform the space through layers of scaleless architecture? I want this to be a place of exploration and invention, something they can't visit anywhere else. And then lastly, the third capsule is called Seasons. Within the Seasons capsule will be a space of fluctuating temperatures and atmospheres that mimic being within a season. In the past, we were able to experience the 4 seasons of spring, summer, fall, and winter. We could describe spring as a time of rebirth and awakening of nature, summer as blue skies and feeling the warmth of the sun's rays, fall as a time for the changing of the leaves and switching from hot to cool, and winter adding a crisp to the air and a sense of slowing down. Seasons were also associated with certain colors and landscapes due to the changing temperatures. In the dystopia, there are no seasons. To allow them to encounter some sensation of being in a season, I've implemented temperature and changing color schemes into these capsules. There are 4 experiences in a row, and each belongs to a season. My idea is to allow the user to walk from spring to summer to fall and lastly to winter within a short period of time and get the full seasonal exposure. Through research, I found the yearly averages for each month of the year, and these will be the basis for the fluctuating temperatures within the spaces. These 3 capsules utilize sensation, scales, and seasons to invigorate a devastated world and provide a look into the vibrant and animated landscapes of the past. Thank you.